Yeah. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ralph Casals, Town Manager, Town of Cutler Bay. Welcome to my open mic night. Uh, if you're expecting karaoke, you're at the wrong show. An open mic night is an open forum in which I speak to the residents of what's going on in town and also try to give folks a nice informal setting to ask the questions that maybe you're um, um, not comfortable asking at council meetings. So we're here for that. Before I start, I'd like to introduce some folks. We have tonight in person, we have Councilmember BJ Duncan, Councilmember Lord, and I know that some of the other council members are online as well. So if you're online, thank you. If you're in the audience, thank you for showing up. We also have behind the scenes, our town clerk, Mauricio Molino, there he is, Rod Gibson, my communications manager, and Romy Saavedra, I'll get it right. You know, she sits there 5 feet from my office. I still get her name wrong. Romy, as we all know her, Romy. And then we also have several of the department heads here in the audience. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. The PowerPoint going? Okay, so some of the topics that we're going to talk about today, as you know, I like talking about what's hot. What's hot is something that we see that was trending online and a lot of calls that we get. So you'll see us talking about that today. Finance and transportation, that's a very key important topic. Securing open green spaces, Legacy Park Municipal Complex update. I know I'm sure everybody wants to talk about that. Road and water quality improvement projects, we call them storm drainage projects. We also have upcoming developments on Southland Mall redevelopment update, and then events and some Q&A. So the way it's going to work is that I'll do a presentation. I'll have a little short time for questions in case you don't want to wait to the end, and then we'll do different chapters at a time. I think that's been the best format. And sometimes I might tell you I'm going to answer that question in the next segment, so stay tuned. So a little bit about our town, folks that are watching online, and some of the folks here that are here, longtime residents in Cutler Bay. We're 45,000 residents. We're corporate in 2005. We just celebrated our 20-year anniversary. We're about 45,000 residents, 9.9 square miles. Average age is 38. I'm above the average. Household size, 3.35. Don't know where that 0.35 comes from, but yeah, the little ones there. Absolutely. Thank you, Councilman Duncan. And we have about 19,000 residential units. We have a town council, town manager, form of government. We have our council members there, Mayor Mirabal, Vice Mayor Callahan, Councilmember Duncan, Councilmember Lord, Councilmember Ramirez. We have what's called 3 charter officials. What's that mean? We report directly to the council. Myself as town manager, Vice Rota Mitch Bierman, and Mauricio report to the town council. Then we have the department heads, several of them are here, then report directly to me as your town manager. We have our organization chart. The most important part here is you, the residents, the first box. There it is, the residents. Then we have the mayor and town council with our charter officials, and then we have the different divisions and different departments there that we have. Ways to communicate with the resident. I think it's very important for folks that are being with us for the first time. We have 11 council meetings per our town charter. We normally have more than 11. In fact, nice commercial plug. We're having a council meeting tomorrow, May 7th at 6 o'clock in this very same council chamber as well. We also have 5 budget workshops and hearings that we're going to discuss later. And then we have 2 open mic nights, one of which is tonight, and then we'll have another one. You'll see me again in August. I'll make sure I'm not wearing the same black. We also have 17 signature events throughout the town. We call those the special events that we have throughout the town to provide residents a nice, relaxed atmosphere. They could come and speak to the town council and the town manager and our department heads. And we have also our emails and just good old fashioned, just, call town hall. And then we also have social media outlets. We have a lot of direct messages that Rod manages, Rod Gibson, our social media. And then we also have our monthly newsletters. Very proud to announce that we have over 17,000 subscribers to our newsletters. Every time I go and provide my business card to somebody, I said, forget about my name. Just go there. It takes 15 seconds to sign up for our newsletter, and you're going to get bombarded with emails. And then obviously we have our service request 24-hour website that you can come in and provide us any type of information. We have, very proud to announce, 27,000 followers on social media, which is great. So we know kind of get that word out, and our Rod Gibbs, our communication manager, does a great job. Another highlight that we'd like to have, this is something that we just received. Cutler Bay was awarded the Excellence in Communication Award through the Florida League of Cities, a Certificate of Excellence in Communications. Rod Gibson just attended a conference last month, and Clearwater, we were awarded that certificate. It recognizes excellence in government, communications, public information, and community outreach. Amongst all our peers, it was a grueling test that we had to go through to show the different outreach that we have, and the town received this credit for strong communication practices, including social media, website, e-news, as we described, public meetings, reporting tools, and brand guidelines. A good example of the brand guidelines, I know that some of the folks have seen some of our new vehicles with the little blue stripe on the bottom. Some people refer to it as Miami Dolphin colors, but the fact that you're noticing it and people are calling about it, that's the branding. It caught your attention. Relatively quickly, we celebrated the first time in 20 years that all of our schools are either A or B. We're very proud of and highlight the Cutler Bay Middle School, which is an A school. If you recall from some of the old days there, it was down in the D's. So Principal Pata there is doing a great job there. So please visit that school. And then the rest of our schools here, this is stuff that we have on our website, are either A and B schools. So both are our home base high school, which is South Ridge, is an A, and as well as Cutler Bay Middle School, which is our school of choice high school, is an A as well. So let's get into some of the meat of it, right? What's hot? Cutler Ridge pool closure, right? Again, I told you we're going to have that type of forum that we want to talk about things that are hot in the community. Caribbean Boulevard Bridge. Caribbean Boulevard Turnpike widening project. I see some head shaking here, some eyes rolling. So, okay, so that we're hitting it, right? Blue Heron Park, the Blue Heron Park closure. So let's talk about the Cutler Ridge pool closure. As I mentioned before, the council meeting, we had a detailed presentation there. It was permanently closed on February 27th of this year. It was a very tough decision, difficult decision. The facility dates back to the 1950s. We had underground leaks that caused our water bills to rise over $36,000 per month. We then started receiving estimates from our engineers regarding the work that needed to be done, as well as the 40-year inspection. It was over $782,000. We then used the process, right? We used a system of citizens engagement, and we actually then presented this at the Parks Advisory Committee. That's a liaison by Vice Mayor Callahan, and I think Councilmember Lord also physically attended there as well. And we had over 45 people there kind of like talking through the whole process together, and I can tell you as your town manager, I heard a lot of comments like, well, yeah, I think that estimate's high. I understand that, but we got to go through that whole process. I'm going to explain that in a second. That was the best estimate that we could receive from the original engineer that did the report back in 2022 that said it was going to be approximately $1.5 million to repair. And at that point, the council made a decision to then include a new pool in our Legacy Park complex, which, by the way, it's about $4.8 million. As I mentioned there, it's going to be part of the municipal complex. It wasn't part of the original general bond obligation. That's very key. I want to make sure people sit there and say that, because when you look at the bond obligation, we didn't have a pool there. So we added that pool, not part of the general obligation bond. Fun fact, our most recent bill, we just met with our Parks Director, Etienne Bejarano. Our recent bill is $200. So if you picture Cutler Ridge Park, you have the park building where our community center is and our after-school program is, and the little bathrooms in the breezeway, and then you have the pool. So now that shows you that our water bill completely shutting off the pool and the pool building and the water that's lost on a daily basis in evaporation, that's what it costs us to operate that park, just to the restrooms. So that's a huge savings for us. Now, as I reported to the council, my next step as your town manager is to go back to Miami-Dade County Water and Sewer Department and try to have communications with the director about getting a credit for the sewer portion of that bill. So there's going to probably even be some more savings, but I needed to get to the point of proving that the water bill is down. Number one. Number two, capping the line is very important. Show proof that that line is capped and go from there. There's been conversations in the community about what's going to happen to the park. What we said at the council meeting and when we reported during the meetings at the Parks Advisory Committee is the Park Advisory Committee is going to start tackling that item now. I could tell you it's not going to be a pool. We know that the new pool's gonna be over there. Our role right now is to getting estimates to try to cap the pool. What's that mean? Filling it up with dirt, clean dirt, certified dirt. All right, no arsenic dirt. We'll get into that in a second. So that way we have a safe atmosphere right now. Right now it's fenced off. There's signs. There is a pump there, so that way the water, the way in the bottom of the pool doesn't get beyond like several 6-7 inches. And the site has been secured, but further we want to go ahead and start, capping that with some clean fill. And then obviously the Parks Advisory Committee will start going through their visiting session about that. I know some people say, well, is it going to be a pickleball court? Is it going to be this? I don't know. Let that process of citizen engagement allow us to make that decision and then make that recommendation to the town council. This is what I presented to the town council briefly that shows you the different timelines. With the first one I'm showing you, if we went along with the repairs, and I'm not going to go into all the details of each one of those sections, but this was presented at a council meeting. So this would be if we repaired the existing pool, the timeline, the design, the permitting, the construction, and the opening versus an estimated about $782,000. We won't know until you go through the bidding process, right? But that's the estimate. Then we presented same timeline with Legacy Park, where we're going through right now what's called for the GMP2, which is going to be the construction of the pool and the underground infrastructure. Again, same timeline. You can see the construction there. You can see that, yes, and we are going to hold our feet to the fire there, where we said it's going to be the park component, which is the community center, the pool, and the pool deck, as well as some of the town hall, which is going to be 3 stories, will be open in the first quarter of 2027. So they're right there. What I was trying to show graphically is there's a 4-month gap right there, a 4-month gap. So regardless of what that price is going to be, is it worth having that cost and have that 4-month gap that then you're going to close the doors, it's going to open up a new one. It was talked about at the council. The decision was made, you know what, not even to go ahead and proceed on developing the plans that was going to be, that to provide me authorization for up to $50,000 to provide a set of plans to go through the process to find out what the real cost is going to be. Folks, you can see it graphically there. It wasn't worth it. The council made that decision as well. Collectively, I showed it to them graphically. So I'm going to need that money anyway to start capping the pool. Right, so at least we'll have some type of investment there versus having it, like I mentioned to the council, a roll of plans and I'm just sitting on the desk there, right, just to find out what the cost is. So that was a very difficult decision for us, but I think the process, we've been very, very transparent throughout this process of showing the folks what was going on. In fact, not only that, we just had our first session. We started meeting with some of our partners. East Ridge hosted some of our active adults. In fact, we got some great feedback from the active adults, right? Some of it is, we're a little bit more advanced than the folks in East Ridge. The pool's a little bit too small. So again, I'm sharing what I received as well. So, but it was a test, right? It wasn't ideal, but it was a test. And then we also had a trip that we met with the executive director of the YMCA, Cheryl Woods, right? Cheryl Woods, right, E.T.? Yeah, Cheryl Woods, that we met there. We took our whole team there, our active adult folks, coordinator, our special events coordinator, Etienne Heron, and my team. We met with their team, and we were able to negotiate. Once they complete the pool, they're still under construction, but we call it 90 for 90. $90 for 90 days. Yes, it's a little bit further away, but I'm providing different options. Other option we have as well is communicating with our friends from Miami-Dade County. We met with Christina White and her folks. Christina White's a Parks Recreation Open Space pros, right? I still call it parks, pros, parks. And they were very receptive. They have a Goulds Park as well as a Southridge Park. Southridge Park is not open yet, but Goulds is. In fact, both the East Ridge, YMCA, Goulds, and Southridge, all those pools will be heated. That's something we heard from our active adults. Are those pools heated? That was another rumor. They're all heated. So we're in the final stages of negotiations with Miami-Dade County where we could go ahead and have a nice, say, Cutler Bay active adult swim day in a time slot, as well as open swim, and as well as water polo. I think the water polo, just based on our conversation with the pool director from the county and our friends from Cutler Bay Middle, it might be Southridge because it's a little bit deeper. but we're going to try to reserve those slots. So we have another follow-up meeting with those individuals. And part two, this is how all the coordination effort is with Alfredo Quintero, Public Works Director, and Yanir Vega, Assistant Director. We were able to negotiate with the on-demand folks, Metro Connect, to transport to either the YMCA, East Ridge, and Goulds and South Ridge as part of our cycle. So it won't cost anyone to go to those places. So we literally, I think that email just came in, I think yesterday at 4:45, right? I think we just got it yesterday. So that's an integral part. So that way, well, I don't want to drive there. You don't have to. We encourage you to use our Metro Connect, and we were able to negotiate that. Caribbean Boulevard Bridge, right? Yep, I know, I'm tired of seeing it as well, right? So there we provided a council that was done, a council meeting during November 25. November is when we had the director come in, Alex Barrios come in. And again, project history, it was originally, construction started back in April of 2021. So now we're almost getting to that decade, right? Due to difficult site plan conditions, the original contract was unable to perform. The plans contract was terminated. And I've been very vocal about that the county told us that they actually fired the contractor because the contractor didn't know what they were doing. I'm like, wait, say that again? So we had to go through those challenges there. I could tell you it's a really sore topic and a priority when I speak to Commissioner Cohen-Higgins about that. I mean, she literally has meetings almost on a monthly basis with the director and their staff. What is the status of the bridge? What is the status of the bridge? New permit application now was submitted because now they let go of the contract and a new contractor has to go through an award process. But at the same time, the permits expired. So now you got to renew all those permits through all those different agencies. So the schedule, according to the county, is estimated completion in spring of 26. Yeah, I know. I see some heads shaking, eyes rolling. Yeah. The construction procurement process is going to start here in summer of 26, which has to be in maybe the next couple of months, right? And then estimated completion time is going to be summer of 2027. Yeah, start time, sorry. Yeah, the start time, not completion time, sorry, start time. Huh? 27th on the screen there, yep. It's 27, that's what it says. Not my number, the county's number. That's why you see the county's logo on there. Estimated construction fall of 28. Okay, so again, that is directly from the report that was presented to the town council, so you know what the town council knows. Now, Turnpike. Yep, that Turnpike widening project, right? So this one, as we had the Turnpike Authority come and present the report, the work is going to be continuing through 2027. I think it's very important that people say, what's going on? Folks, what they're doing is adding lanes. When you add lanes, you have to add lanes and you have to widen the bridge. That is why intersections are closed underneath the bridge to keep it in a safe environment there. So that's what they're doing. They're widening the lanes. For Cutler Bay, it's going to be good because they're widening the entrance lanes on 107th Avenue and 211th Street. If you know that intersection there in the morning, you got to play chicken every morning. I think Councilmember Lord tells me all the time, it's like, her little Acura versus F-350, they're trying to figure out how to get into the first lane there. And then you got people just want to turn into 211th Street there, right? So that's going to get fixed in terms of having two lanes going directly up there. Or yes, I know you can see people going up and down the parking ride and do a little loop and try to, then they trigger the light and then there goes another 3-minute cycle, right? Total project is $37 million. Caribbean Boulevard eastbound detour started in February 26th. That is the closure of Caribbean Boulevard. So now we're feeling the pain at this point. Eastbound lanes are scheduled to be reopened June 1st, according to FDOT. So again, we're holding their feet to the fire. And again, this is the contact information for Hector Reyes. In fact, I think they're in this building, if I'm not mistaken, as a consultants and DOT here. They want to be close to that project, so we have that. And again, if you need to get more information, FloridaTurnpike.com. So again, I think as that June 1st comes along, we might bring back our friends from the Turnpike Authority and just kind of provide an update to the council, maybe on June 2nd. Okay, Southwest 216th Street. If you live Lakes by the Bay, this is near and dear to your heart, right? Every time it rains, we get the calls. right? So we get the calls. I could tell you first, it's Miami-Dade County owned and maintained roadway. The stretch between Old Cutler Road and 97th Avenue, which is that first circle, that is the worst area there. That is a couple inches of rain and it's a couple feet there. It's like a bowl. You can see there by the pictures. The good news is that the Board of County Commissioners, that's what it is, another acronym, BCC, Board of County Commissioners, approved the funding source, which they received the federal appropriation, just like we did on some other projects that I'll talk about later. They received it and they approved. It was in March of 2026. The project is supposed to start in December of 2026 is when they're going to be doing that drainage project. There are a lot much needed there. This is another one that myself and the mayor, when we met with Commissioner Cole Higgins, one of the priority projects. First one was Heron Boulevard. The second one was Southwest 216th Street there. So that I know that it's always a priority. It's been the priority there for us too. Because as soon as it rains, we know, we just start getting the calls. Blue Heron Park. It's a 5-acre park within the Lakes by the Bay community. The park was closed on June 2024 due to high levels of arsenic. So we closed it immediately. It has a half-mile long walking path. It has 9 outdoor fitness equipments and 2 picnic pavilions. Part of the overview is that word arsenic again, that word arsenic, right? So it was the contaminant, the primary contaminant. It's naturally occurring in Miami-Dade County, but when it comes to parks, it's over that level. And this was also historically used as a farming. You can see from the 1930s pictures, there was like literally nothing on that side of Old Cutler Road. The only thing that was there was the church on Marlin and Old Cutler Road. And then the rest was like groves and fields. Remedial approach, we started excavating all the different soil. In fact, there was maybe 2,700 truckloads that have been removed there and new dirt has come in, certified clean dirt. And then our biggest thing was, you hear me say TPZ, T protection zones that we protected. We're able to negotiate with Miami-Dade County Durham to protect over 297 trees there. As you know, that's a linear park. There's a lot of nice native trees there and mature trees there. And in fact, if you've been following us a couple of years in a row, we received grants. We planted trees there about 3-4 years back. Dust control and monitoring. And then obviously, the good news is there's no arsenic in the water. That's the good news. And we'll talk about arsenic in the water in a little bit. So one of the questions I always get is, what is the delay? Well, folks, the delay is that, we've been meeting on a weekly basis, myself and the Parks and Recreation Director and the entire team, is at one point, in order not to save the trees, Miami-Dade County Durham was requesting that we put in 24 inches of mulch on the trees in order to secure the dirt and put some type of liner. I call it almost like that little orange construction fence, and then 24 inches of mulch. Well, folks, this is Dade County. What happens when it rains? That mulch is going to go where? And then we got to certify, so it's going to be the mulch games, right? Refilling the mulch, packing the mulch every time it rains, because you got to certify, because once you see the net, then you're violating the conditions of your permit. So literally just, I think it was ETO, I think it was last week on Thursday, we received confirmation that we could go ahead and put what's called Flexi Pave, which is a little rubberized, that we're going to have the walkway also rubberized. So like a little thick rubber items there. In fact, you see them in a lot of the major cities that they put the trees that are on the walkways. They have a little rubber thing that looks like kind of like Chattahoochee rock or whatever, but it's actually rubber, but it's pervious. So we were able to negotiate with our friends from Miami-Dade County. Thank you, Miami-Dade County and Miami-Dade County Durham, that they will allow us to put in the liner, but then just 2 inches of that rubberized Flexi Pave as the brand, Flexi Pave. So now we're going back and negotiating with the contractor for that cost. So that is the part of the delay, number one. The second one is that we made a decision we're going to reinstall the workout equipment, but that workout equipment was like 8 years old, and half of them, when we took them out, were completely rusted. So we had to go ahead I made the decision to go ahead and order the new equipment, as well as the lead time for the 2 brand new pavilions that are prefab pavilions that are going to be the same type, brand, and model that we have in Lakes by the Bay. So now you can start seeing that we're starting to standardize a lot of our pavilions. So the equipment and the pavilion are on back order, but nevertheless, the contractor is on site already. You'll see if you drive by there, they're going to start doing some of the Flexi Pave walkway now that we have a decision on the Flexi Pave around the trees. So that is the up to the minute reason why it's been delayed. But I think it was a good delay because we were able to negotiate in the long run. We don't have to worry about literally every year. I would have to worry about myself and the parks director have an engineer go out there certified as 24 inches, or when it's less than 24 inches, go out there and scramble to put mulch all over again. So any questions so far? I know we have some folks here in the audience and we have some folks online. No questions? Anybody watching? No. Okay, okay. All right, anybody from the audience, any questions so far? Sure. Come on up, come on. Come on up, come on up. Come on up. There you go. So the folks at home could hear you. We will have.
Marianne Hanson, 9490 Martinique Drive. When they put the stuff around the trees, are they going to space it away from the tree trunk?
Yes, great question. Yes, part of the Durham permit, we had to show them an exact mock-up of the plan, and there will be a little area around the tree. Not that much.
No,
Because the reason is to
it only has to be about 2 inches, if that.
enough to protect the tree trunk, but yes, that will be part of the plans.
Because people volcano mulch before, and that kills a tree.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
That's what I was concerned about. I call it, that's a great thing, volcano mulch. I was concerned about that because when
Yeah.
you start seeing a lot of landscapers do it, they put it right up to the trunk. So, but yes, there will be a little
space. It's, you know.
There will be a little space for the trunk to breathe, as I call it, but not enough for us to get our hand and scoop up the dirt and start eating it. But thank you for that question, Marianne. Any questions online? No. Okay, folks, so we'll start going to the second. Oh, you're good? Okay. Finance and transportation. I don't know, nice combination there, right? But I figured, okay, you know, I just kind of roll with it, right? Okay, so finance. So we talked about earlier about our workshops. Let me tell you about the workshops. Just think about workshops. They're voluntary. I call it the Cutler Bay way, right? Why? Because it's already June. I mean, like I just looked at this today. I'm like June 17th workshop already. So we're already starting to get into budget mode here, right? So our first workshop is the visioning workshop. The visioning workshop is where we get together with the council and we start saying, okay, these are all the different things we talked about. Let's start prioritizing for this particular year what we're doing in terms of visioning. The second one we start getting now, that's in July. By that time, we have the property appraisers give us some of the preliminary tax roll information that we have. So we go ahead and showing you the numbers at that point. The third one is where we have the stormwater fund and all the grant funds together and all the capital improvement projects all in one, and we show that to the council. So there's three opportunities, three public involvement meetings that residents could see, as well as the council. Budget hearings. Okay, the budget hearings those are state mandated. You have to have 2 of those per year. Now, for local governments, you have to sit there and kind of navigate. You cannot have your budget hearing the same day as your county or your school board. So these are tentative dates because until the county commission or the Miami-Dade County School Board sets their dates, right now we have a tentative September 10th. But if it falls on one of those dates, we have to shift and move. And then also, our second hearing will be in September. They're usually in September. So June, July, August, September, or those 4 months out of the year, we're talking all finances at that point, okay, from the town council level. One of the things that we're very proud of is that we received the Government Finance Officers Association Awards. We've had excellence in financial reporting. You know, thank you, Robert DiDario and his team. We have 17 consecutive years. This is, again, another grueling aspect of it through GFOA, Government Finance Officers Association. And in budget presentation, we have it 7 consecutive years as well. What I like to tell my staff is that you pick up our budget book and you could be living in Milwaukee and you know what Cutler Bay means. It tells a story, not just a bunch of confusing numbers, as we say, right? And you'll see as we start going through the budget workshops every year, I don't know how much more transparent we could get. We actually provide the council and the community the exact worksheets my department heads that are all sitting in the back there provide. So I tell the council, you have what we have. And then we'll restart the budget presentation in 2026. Transparency portal, I think is very, very important for us. We have a transparency portal on our website that you can sit there and look at where we spend our money, where the checks go. Folks, just for the transparency portal, I know I have a couple council members here and a couple watching. Every physical check in the town is signed by me and one of the council members. 90% the mayor. If he's not available, then it goes vice mayor, vice versa, like that. So I know both Councilmember Duncan and Lord have been here, that you've seen the check process, right? And even before that, we even get the department heads to sign off that the item was received. So there's several layers of signature security there. And then here you can see a little snapshot of the financial transparency portal. Not only that, folks, on a quarterly basis, our finance director, we present it to the town council. It's published on the agenda, provides you a snapshot of where are we in this quarter, 4 times a year, and it provides a snapshot of where are we in the fiscal budget. This is just a sample of Robert Darr's memo, and then we have the actual report attached to the agenda, not the day of the agenda. It's already published in a week ahead of time that it's open to the public to review. And then, in fact, you can watch our latest, thank you, Rod, for this link. You can watch the latest presentation. There's the YouTube link that we have because we broadcast our council meeting. Something important that we are very proud of, that we have the adopted millage rates. We have there, we are the 8th lowest in the county. We keep our millage rate very, very low. And then here, you have our fund balance, okay, which we call that in other terms like our savings account. We have approximately $28 million. I mean, that's a snapshot there because we were using some of the money for Legacy Park, but we're also getting some money back in from voluntary cleanup tax credits and grants that we'll talk about in a little bit. Here's our millage rate history. As you can see, that we've been consistent in the last 4 years of keeping it at 2.832. So again, one of the lowest ones in the Miami-Dade County. Town circulator. So the town circulator, we have over 5,000 riders per month, folks. 5,000 riders. It operates Monday through Saturday and Sundays. Footnote on Sundays, and thank you, Commissioner Cohen-Higgins, because we were able to negotiate with Commissioner Cohen-Higgins about 3 or 4 years ago that the county picked up that tab on Sundays. So I do want to provide that public, thank you to the county commissioner for that. Although limited services, but it's from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. that allows a lot of our riders to use it on Saturday. I mean on Sundays. Sunday we do not pay for it. The town doesn't pay for it. The county picks up that tab for us. And then this is the circulator route. It's about 45 minutes, I call it. It's a train on wheels. It's about 45 minutes by the time it does its routes. Metro Connect, and we talked about it before, I call it the on-demand. So there's the classic vehicles. We have all the different hubs that you see throughout the town there and the service areas. But I think this other graphic is going to be really good. So right now, as you followed us, there was a change in the Metro Connect policy through the county because they operated for us. So if you're going to one of the hubs, it's $1.50. Remember I mentioned about the pool, right? So on that one there, the consumer will be charged $1.50, but then you're going to get instant credit because we're picking up that tab and we're paying that through our PTP funds. If you want to go to a non-hub stop, I want to go to my cousin Louie's house. Okay, sure. $3.75. Well, you'll know in the first 30 seconds it's cheaper to do that, Uber or Lyft. If it's cheaper, then I'm going to do $3.75. You'll get billed automatically. If you're going to one of the transit hubs, $1.50, and you get $1.50 credit back, which means it's free. Good. Okay. And then those are the service hours. Okay. Can you hear it? Hold on. Technical. Test 1. Okay. All right. Back. There you go. Sorry. Commercial break. Live TV. Okay. Service hours, you have them there from 6:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. So I think it's been very successful for us. And in fact, you can see a lot of dots, right? These are all the different hot spots that you see there of all the folks that are being picked up. I think the most important part, you can see that we have about 250 rides per day. So we thought that there was going to be a big drop off once the folks were going to start getting charged $3.75 or even $1.50. If you go to a transit hub, it's actually free, right? So we haven't seen that drop off yet. There's been maybe very minimal, but we meet with them on a monthly basis. Any questions on finance and/or transportation?
No questions here.
Question? Anybody from the audience? Okay, we will continue. Okay, securing open space and green spaces. if you followed us before, this is very something highlight. In fact, I was today at the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce Resiliency Summit that Mayor Mirabal was on a panel with Mayor Fraga and Mayor Fernandez, and Councilman Duncan was there as well, where we highlighted some of the resiliency items they were doing. And this was something that we highlighted because this is kind of unique to a lot of governments. And in fact, some of the other mayors said, wow, how do you guys do this, right? So what did we do? Well, we purchased 8.5 acres. We call that Coastal Ridge Preserve Park. There it is, right on the corner of 184 and Old Cutler Road. We purchased that back in 2020. 8.5 acres, $8.5 million. We completed our environmental assessment. September 24, we renamed it Coastal Ridge Reserve. It was just kind of like the 8.5 acres. So now we called it Coastal Ridge Reserve. So now it has a name. So some of the things that we're doing in terms of environmental remediation, Pure Inc. is the contractor is doing that. We performed soil sampling, and then we developed a soil management plan. Why? Because in the southern part of that property near the lake, there was in 1929, 32, around those years, there was a shack. In that shack, there, who knows what's in there? Fertilizer, I guess, right? So we knew when we purchased that property, there was a hotspot for arsenic. But we purchased it and we negotiated the price down a little bit from the developer in order for us to purchase the property. But we knew there was a hotspot going in. So right now, we did some sampling, and as you can see, we cleared the property. And now the town consultant is performing more sampling just to make sure where we start narrowing down what do we need to carve out. The good news is that I just got the results last week. Right now, out of the 8.5 acres, it looks like the southern 3 are exceeding the level. So now what we're trying to do is narrow down the other 3. So at least, hey, from my standpoint, those other 5 are good. So some of the grant awards that we promised that we were going to do there, we had a Florida's Communities Trust, $856,000, zero match from the town, zero. That money came from the Florida's Communities Trust to offset the 8.5 million. I know it's not 8.5 million, but I'll take 865,000. Then in June of 23, we received a grant for $250,000, and then we matched it $250. So the state gave us $250, we matched it dollar for dollar, $250. That was $500,000. That's what caused us to remove all those trees. And then we also just most recently in the Florida Department of Agriculture, another grant to plant trees. We just received notice that we received $30,000 from the state, dollar for dollar match. We put in $30,000, so that's $60,000. Just to give you an idea, we just went through our predetermined bids that we received through our contractor, folks. That so you know, that $60,000 equates to about 89 trees. Trees, not shrubbery, trees. The reason why I say trees there in a second. And then also working closely with Commissioner Cohen-Higgins, we were able to secure another $250,000, zero match for the shrubs in Pineland, Rockland. So the way I like to describe it is you'll see there's a big walkway, right? So between Old Cutler Road and that walkway is going to be the Pineland, Rockland, that $250,000 shrubs in Pineland, Rockland. And then on the eastern side, you'll see the hardwood hammock, which is the forestry grant, the 89 trees. So once we start getting through the soil remediation process here, and the DERM gives us all clear, then you're going to start seeing some action there, okay? In terms of soil, we're doing the soil remediation plan right now. We applied for a grant for up to $150,000. That is not a brownfield, but there are grants from the state of Florida. Once we understand the scope that we need to clean up, we're going to immediately apply for a grant for $150,000, zero match, zero match. So here's the Coastal Ridge Preserve Park. As you can see, when we adopted it in 24, Resolution 2476, you can see the pavilions there, the walkway. As I mentioned, you got the one side, which is the pine rockland, and you got the hardwood hammocks on the other side. There's a little lake there in the bottom that's outside our property. Part of the reason why that property is very valuable to Miami-Dade County is because Miami-Dade County wants to bring in a flow canal from Bill Sadowski Park, and you can see that all the way down to hydrate those over 128 acres that are owned by South Florida Water Management District. There's a closer view of it, and you see that darker blue line there. That's approximately 2 acres. And you've heard me say before with the council that we are negotiating with Miami-Dade County EEL, environmentally endangered land, EEL, to purchase those 2 acres from the town. We just received a notice that the Board of County Commissioners just approved it from going from what's called the EEL environmentally endangered list from B to A. You're like, okay, what's that mean? Well, yes, I know Barbara Condon's here, and I know some of the folks at Water Rowena and Laura Reynolds, have been working on that for, again, now we're in the decades, right? In the decades. In fact, I remember this room full of folks with yellow shirt, Make It a Park. Remember that? I know I'm that old guy, but I love it. I never got one of those shirts. I want to get one of those shirts anyway. So I think that that's important. And that's, again, our commitment for that, right? We bought it. We got grants. And now we followed through with the help of Commissioner Cohen-Higgins, putting that from the from the B to the A list. What's that mean? The B, if we sell it to Miami-Dade County and the B, you get 50% of the appraised value. A list, you get 100%. Just quick math, right? Remember I said we bought it for 8.5 million, 8.5 acres? Yeah, about $1 million an acre, right? So that's a big difference for us. So we're in the final negotiations of that now. So that, again, that'll be some money that we come back to help us reimburse ourselves. Well, now what's that mean? Well, here's what the park's gonna look like. Again, this is something that will be presented to the council once we cut the deal, because now all we're doing is shifting. You're still gonna have the 2 pavilions. You're still gonna have the walkway. You're still gonna have the little parking area there. It's just we're shifting over the project a little bit. That property there, you see in the little yellow mustard color there, that area's already been cleared. We're also testing the entire area. So as I told my friends from Miami-Dade County Durham EEL property, I said, you guys are gonna get a pristine property, no trees and no environmental remediation needed. Now, where's my money? Anyway, so one of the things that we're doing there, very excited too, to work with Zoo Miami, is the bat house on the southern side, to draw attention to the park, right? And at one point, one of the renderings showed on the north side, but we started working with our friends from Zoo Miami, right? And there's a bat society, believe it or not, and we work with them, and they actually said it's better to be on the south side, just like us. The bats wake up, they go like this, and they're ready to drink water. I should have missed this. That's something. Okay. All right. I promise I won't touch myself. Okay. So I think that's important. So that's something that's going to be coming hopefully to the council in the next couple of months. It could be somewhere between, $1.8 million to $2 million deal. So that's something that's long overdue, and it'll help us kind of like replenish some of our funds, for that. So now we go to the 3.5 acres, Veterans Park in the intersection of 87th and Old Cutler Road. There's a site. So Veterans Park, we purchased it in 2023, $8.5 million. That's 3.5 acres, but they have a lot more development rights here. If you've been following us, that's the one that I think at least a couple of times come before the council to try to put a CVS and some mixed use development there. We completed the environmental phase 1 and phase 2 plans there. Council named it Veterans Park because, again, it was just 3.5 acre park, right? So now we have Veterans Park. Cleanup efforts since 2024. If you recall, there was like 19 large Australian pines along 200th Street. Gone. We also removed over 28 tons of debris. If you recall, that property on the northern side had a nursery. So we had to, remove all that debris. Some of the grants that we were awarded, in fact, this one we're excited about because this one we got a Florida's Communities Trust grant for $1.5 million. So we're finalizing documentations with the Florida's Communities Trust, and hopefully we'll get that check in the mail in this fiscal year. So what are some of the items that we had here? So here you have on the northern side, which is the old nursery. We had high levels of arsenic and lead, and then we also had lead here in the bottom. So, and arsenic as well. So the good news is that in our soil remediation plan to Miami-Dade County Durham, we just have to clear up those areas, unlike, say, Legacy Park that we had to scrape up the whole item. So there, it's kind of like spot. spot moving. And this one had extremely high levels of arsenic and lead there. If you recall, back in the day, some of the folks that have been here, you remember it used to be like a little Christmas tree, pumpkin patch area there. And what was the driveway that you come in through? And what were the rocks you were driving on? Yep, that's what it was. Okay, so again, we knew the property was contaminated, but we wanted, go ahead and purchase it because what was the alternative? Potential CVS and houses there. So we have to remove about 6 inches in the kind of bluish area and about 2 feet in that reddish area, and then about 2 feet in that little, yellow mustard area. So we already know what we need to remove. Again, one of the things that we did is we're estimating somewhere between $75,000 to $85,000 worth of remediation. Now we're also pursuing the Florida Department of DEP grant, similar to what we're doing on Coastal Ridge Reserve. This is not a brownfield, so we're going to be applying for the same type of grant that's up to $150,000, no match. So again, we know it's contaminated, it's there. I know that I think when I went to the women's club the other day, somebody asked me, what about the monument sign? The monument sign is actually on back order, so we could stake our place saying that it's a Veterans Park, and where we're putting it, it's not going to be anywhere where the remediation is going to go. I can't do that same sign over at Coastal Ridge Reserve until we get the all clear from Miami-Dade County Durham, because I don't know where to put it at this point. So 8.5 acres, 3.5 acres, Legacy Park. Legacy Park, 16 acres, right next to the new Publix on Old Cutler Road. 4 acres is going to be the town hall, parking lot, community center, pool building, and then 12 acres would be open space for a park. So we know that we approved the site plan of a maximum not to exceed 49.9 million. There's some smaller numbers that I can't read, but it's 49.9 there. And right now we're in the remediation phase. As you know, we put the big fence around it. There's a lot of sand there. There's been a lot of removed. In fact, some of the fun facts, I just read it the other day, 5,400 truckloads. 5,400 truckloads that remove. So what are we doing now? So in March 2026, we started taking more samples to make sure there were samples there. There's the driller there. I'm there with the contractor. The folks from our engineers are there. So they collect soil samples throughout the entire 16 acres. They put it in a secured ice chest, really. I thought it was something, it's just an ice chest, And Miami-Dade County now is reviewing the results. So as you hear us and the council saying, what are we're still waiting for Durham? Yes, but I think right now, just in the last 2 days, there's been at least 25 email exchanges between our Miami-Dade County Durham officials, Will Mayorga, the director, and his staff, and our contractor consultant. So they're looking at it, reviewing it, and asking questions. Once we get that all clear, then we will then be able to get the all clear to do what's called guaranteed maximum price number 2. Commercial. Tomorrow night, we're going to be discussing that. So come watch our meeting tomorrow night. GMP number 2 is all the underground utility stuff. Okay, so what's it going to look like? I get this question all the time. These are the actual renderings. It's going to be town hall, 3 stories. You see a nice little area there for art and public places. You see I call it the egg, kind of the council chamber. Council chamber will be 1 floor, and the second floor will have the same shape. And the 3rd floor is one you could have a little balcony you could walk on there. The 3rd floor. There's a side view. 1st floor, public works, code compliance, all the high traffic area. Occupational license, burglar alarms, all on the 1st floor. 2nd floor will be the police department, sheriff's department. And the 3rd floor will be, administration. We do have future growth there because, as I mentioned, the 2nd floor is going to have the egg shape, and that whole egg shape is open space there. So we made sure that the sheriff's department could operate without using that space for future growth. Because if you recall, some of the original plans had a standalone police department there. And in fact, I know council members have gone to Tallahassee. We've been fighting for trying to see if we get some funding for that, but at least for now, they have a home. And here's the other side view there. So there's a couple of places you have opportunities for art and public places there. So you have it in the front, and you have it on the side there, and you see the top balcony there where you have an area there. It's just kind of like open space, overlooking the 12 acres. So the community center, Now you start seeing the same type of architecture. Again, clean, simple, inviting, as we wanted to make sure it's inviting. You see the same kind of, I call them, parapet there that you have there. The pool, you see the pool deck there with the pool house, and there's a community center. In fact, when you look at that area there, the higher ceiling area there, I call that, it's going to be about the equivalent size of a full volleyball court. And there you'll have some indoor-outdoor space that you have a big, kind of big garage, I say garage door, but some type of mechanism door that during swim meet events, you could open that up, and that's where the swim teams will go, so that they're not on the deck. And also in the evening time too, it has the type of reception. You can open it up, and it opens up to the nice pool deck area there as well. And it's going to have that type of flooring that you're either doing, chair yoga exercises there one day, or swim meet, or you're bouncing a basketball or volleyball. It's going to be that type of flooring. And then this is the pool house here. You're going to have some offices in the front. You're going to have I call it, safe rescue room, first aid room, some showers, and the concession stands on the back side there for the stands. So recap: 8.5, 3.5, 16 acres. Quick math, I didn't do it in my head. It says it on the screen, 28 acres. Folks, what we did was we removed over 618 units. 618 units. So can you tie this into resiliency? Yes. Can you tie that into our commitment for open space? Yes. Can you tie that into it for park space? Yes. Can you tie that into reducing traffic on Old Cutler Road? Yes. So this is something that Mayor highlighted today at the Resiliency Summit, and we basically said they're not making land. You had two options: either allow development, or buy it, or get sued. So this commitment, this council was able to commit that. So a lot of people say, well, what are you going to do with it? Well, it's not going to get developed, right? So we have that. Any questions at this point?
Yes.
Yeah, come on up. Come on up.
Questions is not meant about questions.
No, it's good. Give me an opportunity to drink water.
In I think I'm 8501 Green Boulevard. A lot of the folks here in this room knows who I am. I'm Ricardo. July 12, 2029, I sent an email to the council and the town manager, pointing all the pointed and did my full analyze regards this project that it was introduced to the community with the designs completely wrong and with a lot of defects. I really appreciate all the work that you did.
Mm-hmm.
And you and Mike Callahan, that he respond to me regards to address all these subjects. And you end up to did a very nice project at this moment that I look that is a major improvement for our community compared to the last drawings that it was exposed to the community in 2024. When I present all these recommendations, I spoke in private with a majority of the council, and I exposed that the arsenic at the time, it was not what we was expected. We could not encapsulate it and become a reality. Do we end up expend an extra $8 million or $9 million on the arsenic removal and replace the dirt? So my question to you is regards this, because my background is in architecting in Europe. I am a builder in Florida. And basically, I like to see and analyze the projects we have around us and we affect us. Why this project never was really in detail exposed to the community for not only me, but this community has probably around 30 architects and more than 40 engineers that they are willing to look and give a simple opinion, not to criticize, but to support the town and a better ways to look the projects. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mello. In fact, So let's talk some facts, right? Some facts that folks know that have been following us on the council. The first time that the council saw the set of plans from our architects, right, it was $76 million. And we're like, what? Looks good. But let's do the math, guys. If you follow us, I was in the first team with myself, Mayor Bell, right? The first bond that failed, $40 million. Although don't quote me, guys, 180 votes, less than 200 votes. Then we went to the second generation bond. In between the first generation and the second generation, we did a couple things. One, the first time we were going around talking about the bond was we want to borrow $40 million to build something someplace. Think about that. There wasn't a plan. Second one, we then get involved the University of Miami. Okay, we have an agreement with the University of Miami. We have several public involvement meetings with different visioning sessions. They had several different renderings. It was just kind of get that blood going with the community, right? We then present all the different concepts. In fact, we were here, we had a bunch of little 3D models and what have you, and we actually went to the University of Miami with the School of Architecture. Eric Valle was the architect there. In fact, he was a professor for the master's of program there, and we had the dean of the School of Architecture there overseeing the project. We had some peer review from different world-renowned architects there, looking at and commenting. All that was just to provide us a nice conversation piece. Fast forward, we have the bond. The bond gets approved. We go through the selection process for the design team. We selected Salt Mickelson based on their qualifications. There were several firms that provided their qualifications. We go through Salt Mickelson. At that point, they came in with a design for $76 million. I said, nope, guys, $37 million bond. Work it backwards. Come back. And in fact, you hear us say, walk the horse back in the barn, right? And I said, no, hold on. Let's go. Let's bring that back. We brought that back to the one slide that I showed that was $49.9 million. Okay, the $49.9 million. You're like, wait a minute, but you just told me we have $38 million GEO bond. You're absolutely correct. We just approved what we call a gap financing from TD Bank. Why? A couple of things that you just brought up, Mr. Mello, was we didn't plan on spending $12.6 million on the arsenic. We didn't plan on that, okay? We didn't plan on that, number one. Number two, once we had that, we had to use some of our ARPA money, American Rescue Plan Act money, $6.5 million that was gonna be towards our pool, because it was never part of the project. So could we have done it a little bit less costly? Yes, but it wouldn't be, you won't have what we call all clearance on the property. You could put a liner, and just put like maybe 3 feet of dirt. But anytime that liner breaks with a root, a tree, or whatever it is, again, I go back to my little mulch example. So we made the decision, you know what? Bunker down, $12.6 million, $6.5 million from ARPA, and another $6 million from our savings account. That's what you see out there now. That's why we want to make sure we get the all clear. So in that process, there was several meetings at the council regarding the actual design of the complex. Okay, that's why we hired those professionals to do that. And then they go back and start doing the cost. In between that time, we bring in Kaufman Lynn, which is our contractor. No plans yet. They're sitting side by side with the architect. Okay, here's the plans. This is what it costs. Here's the plans. Here's what it costs. Go back, like that. So now we got to the point, and you hear me say it all the time, at the council, we have what's called a GMP, Guaranteed Maximum Price. So when we did phase one of the soil, $12.6 million guaranteed maximum price. In fact, it came in lower. Now, tomorrow, council is going to discuss GMP number 2, which is all the underground utilities, that water, sewer, storm drain, and electrical that you have to do on the ground, the piping, and also elevators. Elevator. No, sorry, I forgot only one elevator. Yeah, I know, you see the cost of those are going to be one elevator. And also a lot of the big gear switches that you need for FPL that take about a year, almost a year lead time to make. That's what the council is going to vote upon tomorrow. It's a public agenda. It's there. I'm not telling you anything that the council doesn't know. That guaranteed max price is $11.8 million. Okay, and then we'll talk about more about it. Just watch the meeting because I don't want to take a lot of the thunder away from our report. The next GMP3 will be what's called the vertical. The vertical process right now is going through review of fire department and Miami-Dade County Durham. It's already gone through our review of the building department, so they're getting all those comments. So that way, then they hand our contractor the plan. Say, okay, build this, guaranteed maximum price. Unlike doing the traditional way. The traditional way, architect designs it, advertise the bid, and you come back and what are the bids? We want to make sure side by side early on, the contractors are side by side to make sure that those are the costs. Hence, when our architect came back with a plan, beautiful plan, $76 million, when you start estimating, oh no, let's bring it back. Bring it back. So that's how transparent that we've been. But thank you for the question. I know you sent us an email and we respond as fast as we can. But I think that is a nice, transparent. In fact, some of the other cities are looking at our model because, credit to the University of Miami, all that feedback that we received, we gave all that feedback and comments. I think it was over 900 comments to our current architects. So that way they didn't just like, okay, so where's Cutler Bay? Where do we start? No, it's there. It's there. So we saved a lot of time and effort there, and you'll hear that from Salt Nichols. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. Well, no. You know what? You want to find me. I'm here all night. Okay. Any other questions from online? Sorry.
No questions right now.
Okay, great. So let's get back to the PowerPoint. And again, I'll be more than happy to have more in-depth conversation, with that. But I mean, we're trying to, let's see. Huh?
Well, is that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Folks that know me, you know where to find me. Okay. On to the next chapter. Okay, so CERP, another acronym, Comprehensive Everglades Restoration Plan, the Cutler Bay Wetland projects, right? And as you hear me all the time, I say it's a $90 million project nobody knows about. $90 million in our own backyard. So this is the natural flow. I mean, part of the Save Our Everglades restoration is you can see from Lake Okeechobee, again, Florida sits like this, a slope. Everything drains down. And so what we're trying to do with the Army Corps engineer and the governor's office is make sure that we hydrate and treat a lot of that water, empty out to Biscayne Bay. So for us, it's right along Southwest 232nd Street that traverses 97th Avenue and 87th Avenue, or south of Mater Academy, right? South of Mater Academy, or just, north of the landfill, right? So it's a $90 million investment that's being completed by South Florida Management and as well as Army Corps of Engineers. Key thing here, it's going to rehydrate over 2,000 acres. So if you sit there and you kind of close your eyes between Mater Academy and Black Point, yep, that's that many acres of wetlands that for decades have been starving for water. Why? Because that big canal, when you get a big rain, it just flushes down right next to our big crocodile down there by the gate, and it goes right to Biscayne Bay, and here's 2,000 acres saying, feed me, feed me, feed me. So that's part of the $90 million project. And then here, as you can see here, it's a concrete lined canal because the soil is so pervious there. It's like mucky. So I call it one of those canals like you see in LA, right? So in fact, this was one of the projects that the mayor highlighted today at the Resiliency Summit as well. And right now, it's great when you see it work. You see the water sheet flowing down all the time. So that's something that we did. And then also now we'll talk about some roadway improvements, okay? Frangel Road, right? Getting close to the end, guys, getting close to the end. Thank you, Councilmember Duncan. I know you're in the middle of it, living it every day, right? So again, our commitment going back to Legacy Park and Frangel Road, every month we have our consultants provide a report to the town council. Every month. This is a snapshot of Frangel Road. You can see the line there kind of keeps moving there, our commitment there. So that's something that we have. And then also, I think a lot of things that we talk about with our roadway projects, and we'll talk about some more later, is the funding sources, right? Because a lot of people say, well, you know what? Our abnormal taxes pay for that, not in Cutler Bay. It might be in some other cities, but we've been very fortunate with our staff and amazing grant writer that we were able to kind of leverage grants against each other. Why? We have non-opera ad valorem taxes, right? We have joint participation agreements, JPA. Okay, that's an agreement that we have with Miami-Dade County. Little fun fact, Frangel Road is about $17 million project. About $8.5 million is from Miami-Dade County. Folks, it's their road, but it's in our town. So if we wait, it'll never happen. So that's why we put our money to match their money. So that we have what's called a joint participation agreement, JPA. You hear me say at the council all the time. We also have what's called FDOT, local area projects, that we have different grants for. Our town's PTP, People's Transportation Plan. Every time you go get gas, I know the gas price is high. I can't control that, sorry. But at least some of the taxes that come to the town, we do. We get approximately $2.5 million per year. 80% are for roadway projects. 20% is for the municipal circulate and the Metro Connect transit related items. So that's how we separate the funds. And our take is about 2.5 million. Our stormwater utility fund, right? That we bill now, we just changed the method of billing. It's in your tax bill, which is $90 per year. Folks, take advantage of paying your taxes early because you get a discount. Back in the old days, it was on your water bill. No discount. Take advantage of the discount. So we have here, which was this one? Marlin Road. I can't see it. Okay. Oh, Marlin Road. Yeah, there you go. Marlin Road. I said, that kind of looks crooked for Frangel. Say, Marlin Road. Interesting story about Marlin Road. Marlin Road, we did a great job with Alexis Calatiud and Omar Blanco a couple years back, where we were able to receive the grant for over $500,000. And then our Public Works Director, Alfredo Quintero, in fact, fun fact, became Public Works Director of the Year. Thank you, Alfredo, for the entire state of Florida. There you go. So there, I knew I was going to get that plug in there and make him turn red there for a second. That's a great accomplishment, folks. There's over 462 cities in the state of Florida, and he just received that award. He has a street sign, so that's great, man. I want a street sign one day. All right. So the Marlin Road, we received $500,000 from one grant, and then Alfredo, going back to that, applied for a DOT grant, and we received another 500. So the complete design is being funded by grants on Marlin Road. That's great. But the opinion of probable cause is about $23 million. So again, how do we get to $23 million? The reason I'm going a little bit slower on this one because it's important because there's a lot of folks that are involved. About 2 years ago, we were able to get a federal appropriation, $4.4 million appropriation from Congresswoman Salazar. Folks, the design's not even done yet. That's her commitment. We got that through the omnibus bill. Secondly, Alfredo Quintero and Yanira Vega then presented and got a grant, an FDOT lab grant for $1 million. And you start doing the math. Okay, I got 4.41. I got it here. Most recently, we also applied for a TPO grant, right? The TPO grant for $4 million, and then we will have to match 4. No, guys, that's like an $8 million swing there, right? Because I got 5.4 right here. If I get the other grant 4, and I got to match 4, I'm almost at that 23. Right? And then we've had some great conversations with Miami-Dade County staff to have the county provide us the rest of that gap. It could be anywhere from 18 million to possibly 10 million. So we've had active conversation with them. And I think that's something that we could deliver our next road. Why? If you recall what we've done, Old Cutler Road, that was a JPA, award-winning project. Caribbean Boulevard, a joint participation agreement, award-winning project. Frangel Road, under construction, hopefully get an award, but that's another JPA. So, and then the fourth one will be Marlin Road. Those are all our main arterial roadways. Besides 87th Avenue, which is going to be our next one. I mean, we haven't even finished Frangel and Marlin. These guys are already telling me, hey, let's go after 87th. I'm like, okay, let's go. So that's all part of and getting the feedback from you, the residents, for what we call our complete streets master plan. In fact, fun fact, that master plan was funded through the TPO. So you see how we're trying to leverage all those items there. Frangel Road, we know we talked about it there. I think it's, I'm not going to steal a lot of the thunder, but you can see every month, I think we're a little bit ahead of schedule. Okay, and I know, in fact, the folks that are watching, and I've, in terms of this could have been like what's hot, right? I mean, what's hot is when somebody sends me an email. That's the hottest thing for them, right? But I think it's important. And thank you for the residents that live along 198 and Old Cutler Road. which is the area that we're using as a staging area there. Okay, so it's one of those like, yeah, I drive by it, but if you live by it, yeah, it is a mountain of dirt. The good news is that that project is winding down. In fact, you see a lot of work right now, a lot of activity of trucks taking away the dirt. So they're winding down that area there. And then a question that I had the other day on email was, well, what's going to happen to the property? Well, the property is going to revert back to the owner, who's going to keep building more of the custom houses that he just built there right now. So we had to find a staging area, folks. And the decision was, first one was some of the local churches. They said no. Second one was, well, let's take one of our parks. Bel Air Park or Franjo Park. I'm like, you know, we're going to affect some of the activities there. So we were able to find that one location there. So the good news is, thank you for the residents that live around there, but it's winding down. The activity that you see there are the trucks that are taking the dirt away, not bringing in dirt. So I'll take that complaint every day. Oh, there's a lot of trucks, yeah, but they're taking it away. Okay, so that's 198 Old Cutler Road, as you see it there. And my folks know, because I mean, we drive by there all the time. Then we also have that's Caribbean Boulevard, the J, right? Oh, that's the Canal Bank. Yes, the Canal Bank Restoration Project, the C100B canal there that we're still negotiating with South Florida Water Management there. We are literally stuck in a bureaucracy of South Florida Water Management, Army Corps of Engineers, and you know, it's been very, very frustrating to say the least. There's my J. Caribbean Boulevard, 87th Avenue to 184. That one, we secured a grant also for design and construction. The contract was awarded, and I think we're getting ready to start construction here, you know, pretty soon. There it is there. And we're going to start, is that June what? Okay, June 1st. There you go. June 1st, there's going to be some notices that are being passed out, you know, regarding that. So that's something that we look forward to complete that Caribbean Boulevard area there. And then we also have there our 8.5 acres that we discussed before. And then we also have another resiliency remediation project on the 53 acres right next to that $90 million flowway there, where we were able to negotiate with South Florida Water Management. They were able to put in a restroom, a parking lot, as well as a bird watching pavilion facility there. And then what we're doing there is kind of like rehydrating and reshaping the 53-acre wetland there, you know, as well. That was a grant that we received, and we're matching it with, I think, $750,000, and we matched $750,000. So it's going to be almost a $1.5 million investment on South Florida Water Management District land there. What's this one?
Sidewalk repairs.
Oh, sidewalk repairs. Man, I need to get some better glasses here. Sidewalk repairs along Old Cutler Road that we just completed. Again, that's not your typical sidewalk repair. That is a shared use path colored sidewalk repair. And as you know, Old Cutler Road, that was very difficult to do that with truck with a one-lane highway, but we were able to circumvent that and do that. So the kudos. And then also another one that we're working on too is, I call it the backside, the Legacy Park. If you know Southwest 212th Street, so it's Southwest 212th Street there, between 97 and all the way to 85th Avenue, right across the street from the school, right? Folks, that is a 4-lane highway. When we even spoke to the county, they said, well, we don't know why we designed the 4 lanes. I mean, that to me is almost like it's a raceway there, right? All the houses that live in abut the back there, we know we get the complaints. Some of the, I don't know if they're youth or some of the folks like designing our traffic circle doing donuts at intersections. So my running joke with my staff, wherever you see that donut, that equals that folk just designed my traffic circle, right? So we have an area there that we're actually doing what's called we're going to be proposing a protected bike lane there. One, you reduce the travel lanes from 4 to 2. You know, the 2 lanes to 1 lane on each way, right? And then you do a protected bike lane. What's an example of protected bike lane? Southwest 212th Street. You have a concrete median between you and the bicyclist, right? That is a controlled bike lane. Protected because why? It's ideal because that corridor, all it is, there's no driveways there. It's all back of houses. So that is an ideal situation there. Alfredo Engineer went to the TPO. They presented the project. The TPO loved it. We're actually now because of a state statute, you just can't reduce lanes. We have to do a big traffic study in the area. We just commissioned a traffic study, but we have a good sense that the numbers are going to be there, that it shouldn't be a 4-lane, it could be down to a 2-lane. But I want to take this opportunity to inform the public of what's going on there. So if you need any more information, please feel free to contact our Public Works firm. We'd be more than happy to give you the presentation that we did in front of the committee there. But I think that's an important project there. There's the conceptual plan. There's going to be a traffic circle on the intersection of 92nd Avenue and 212th Street there. That is right now, when you look at the aerial, nice donuts. Nice donuts there, right? And that's a 4-lane intersection there. Total project is about 3.1 million. We're seeking a grant for 1.5 million, and we match the rest. Again, almost that dollar for dollar match, so that we kind of move up on the list. American Rescue Plan, you heard me say that before, or we call it ARPA. So the town received $21 million based on our population. $10 million was for what we call general services, and then $11 million for water quality control. I know I have some council members online and some here, and folks that have been following us. Folks, anytime we spent a penny from that money, it came before the town council as a resolution. Okay, if it was for, fixing sidewalks, that's general services versus drainage. As you recall, some of those areas there you saw, I said we provided the funding, the design through ARPA. So there's been some drainage projects, so we're going to talk about it in a little bit, that we received money from the federal government. We paid the design through the federal government, and then we got the money for the state to build the project. So how much did Cutler Bay pay? So that's what we've been doing there with that leveraging and maximizing our grants. So the water quality improvements, as I mentioned, those are drainage projects, $11 million. Here are a lot of them that are under construction here. You can see the different areas there. You have just north of, between 87th Avenue and Heron Boulevard there. You have around the Cutler Ridge Middle School, Cutler Ridge Park, Cutler Ridge Elementary and Cutler Ridge Park. We have some there in the Lakes by the Bay community, right across from Encompass Health. We have a big project in Saga Bay as well, because that is one of the biggest areas that we have a lot of what we call repetitive loss claims through the FEMA's flood program. So we target that area there as well. In fact, commercial plug, Saga Bay Water Quality Improvement Project, there's going to be a community outreach meeting. The construction cost was 4.6. The council we just awarded the contract. Contract came in under estimate. Tentative commencement date is going to be June, literally, next month. Estimated completion is February of 2028. That's a big project there on Saga Bay. We're going to have a public information session here in town hall Tuesday, May 19th. May 19th at 6 p.m. About the project. In fact, folks, when we have these type of meetings, our Public Works Department actually goes door to door and puts flyers on door hangers. We put door hanger flyers on the folks' doors, as well as Rod Gibson does a great job posting it in our social media. So we like to have a lot of folks here. Not only that, we also shared it with our friends at the Saga Bay Homeowner Association, right? The management company that we have a great relation with. So that way they kind of, push that out to the folks. Again, this is a perfect example. The funding source, the design, $472,000 from ARPA, federal government. Construction, FDEP grant, that we received a grant for 5.6, that it came in on the budget, 4.6, million dollars there. So we're already talking with our public works director and our grants coordinator. Well, what can we use the other money for? Can we do some other things? So we don't want to return money, but it came in under bid, which is great, under budget. So recap funding sources. We got the American Rescue Plan, FDOT LAP, Miami-Dade County Joint Participation Agreement. We have People's Transportation Plan, Town's People's Transportation, that half-penny gas tax. We have Stormwater Utility Fund. We have Biscayne Bay Fund, that we received 2 grants from the Biscayne Bay Trust Fund as well. And then we also have Citizen Independent Trust there, what we call a TPO type of grants that we have there as well. And lastly, our friends from FDEP, Florida Department of Environmental Protection there. That, again, those are very competitive grants, so we do a great job trying to put that together. Another fun thing that we'd like to talk about, The mayor talked about it recently, just today. And folks, we're a community rating system class 3. What's that mean? That you get a flood discount on your flood premium insurance. We provide residents 35% savings on their flood insurance. Cutler Bay has a class 3 since 2023, and we were just recertified. And these folks did a great job because they came in almost like, it's like a month-long audit. And we were just recertified in 2025. Again, it shows the continued work of the floodplain management, drainage management, maintenance, open space preservation, public outreach, as well as our flood mitigation committee. That's another committee that we have made up of professionals that meet on a quarterly basis, I think, Alfredo Junior. I think it's a quarterly basis that they meet here at Town Hall. And again, what's this mean for the residents? The average homeowner, again, this is the numbers from FEMA, not us. It's approximately $523 per year savings average. And then you also have total for the entire town, 2.9 million. I think Councilmember Lloyd, you came one day and showed your bill. So folks, if anything, you remember, if you're not getting the discount, please give us a call. There's been a lot of times that Alfredo and Nero meet with folks and they didn't even know they were in that category. Your agent is supposed to know based on your folio number that you're a class 3. But if there's any doubt, don't know how to read it, or you need our help, please, come by. There's been times that I've had, Alfredo and Nero tell me, hey, somebody just walked away and we were able to save them over $2,000. Because the agent keyed the wrong community. Right address, but wrong community. So again, those are the kind of things that we could help you do that. So we provide that service at no charge to you. Some of the interesting things that we talked about, Public Works Award. So we have Public Works Director of the Year, as we mentioned, for Alfredo, as well as we have the Project of the Year for the entire state of Florida. The entire state of Florida, which was Southwest 200th Street and 104th Avenue traffic circle there on the other side of the footbridge of Cutler Ridge Drive there. Again, that folks, that we received recognition at the conference there. And then we also have an administrative coordinator, Cassandra, that works in Public Works there, Exceptional Performance Award as well from the South Florida chapter of APW. So folks, we're getting recognized in the industry there. I think it's very important for us there. And if there's any questions at this point, come on up.
A comment and a question, actually. One of them is due to the detours at the J. I noticed there was a lot of potholes basically around 87th Avenue between Caribbean and Old Cutler, and I know that's probably a county road, I think, but I wanted to just let everyone know, so maybe that can be referred up the street and other things. The question is also that I noticed on the Franchise Road reconstruction project, I'm wondering why certain parts, especially in your Old Cutler, have like double wide sidewalks. I mean, because that can't be for golf carts or vehicles. So I'm wondering what the function of that would be, because it does seem to be very obtrusive visually and takes away the the green space. So I was wondering about that.
Okay, great question. So let me go with the first one. So the construction you see now on, we call it the J, Caribbean Boulevard between 87th and 184, that is actually us coordinated with Miami-Dade County Water Department to put in the water lines before we start putting in the new roadway section. So that's the county project right now, because we haven't started that yet, but that's part of the coordination. In terms of potholes, we'll know in terms of that detour, we'll make sure that our folks see that. And I call them more of like, I call them some of the ruts, right? The ruts on the edge of the road. You're like, oop, I just ran off the side of the road, right? So we'll make sure that we tell our county folks, because right now the construction that's been going on there for the last couple of weeks has been Miami-Dade County Water Sewer Department and their subcontractors. We haven't come in there yet, but again, part of our coordination effort for that. In terms of the other question, in terms of Franchise Road, I know there's going to be some section, particularly when it comes towards Old Cutler Road, that we're matching the width of the sidewalk on Old Cutler Road. It starts feathering in, like right around the vet office there, the gas station, the vet office there, because it's just weird how some of those properties were offset and how they were platted, right? So there's that lot of area there. So the decision was made at that point, okay, well, do I make a little bit wider sidewalk, or do I put like a little, I call it the mohawk, a 2-foot strip of grass? that's going to be a mohawk. So we said, you know what, let's go ahead and make that concrete to kind of match it up and flare it as much as we can to the old Cutler Road. Because there was going to be some, just the way that those properties were platted, you know, it kind of looks a little bit strange, but it would have been a look stranger with a maybe 1.5 inch strip of something. So that's the reason why. So we want to make sure it was more walkable at that point. But that's only in that intersection there. So, but great question. Great question.
Some area goes to a like double wide sidewalk, then it goes back to
Don't-
a single, then to a double.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to bring up Alfredo Quintero. I see him give me some hand signals there. So come on up and explain. No, up here, up here, up here. He walks and lives it right there.
Yes, just to answer that question, the sidewalks that you see that are wider
Mike.
are in the traffic roundabouts. In the traffic roundabouts for bicycle transition. So if you notice, in order for the bicycles to have a safer, so they could, you know, go through the roundabout safely, the sidewalks are gonna be wider because the travel lanes are not, the bicycle travel lanes are not in the actual traffic circle itself. I hope that answers your question.
All right. He answered a lot better than I could, but those guys live it every day. So we see that because we get those concerns, but also another fun fact about Frangel Road, there's going to be another informational board as well, just south of the traffic circle where Gulfstream meets Frangel Road. There's going to be another one of those informational signs, that two-sided informational sign. We have one on Old Cutler and Marlin Road that announces a lot of different meetings, and we have one on 107th and Caribbean Boulevard as well. And as we finish up the design for Marlin Road, there's going to be at least hopefully one and or possibly two on Marlin Road there. Again, informational signs that people may not follow us on social media, they may not get the community newspaper, but they could at least see, hey, council meeting on this date. So we have an opportunity there on Frangel Road. You're going to see that being so. Yeah, come on up.
Actually,
Come on.
good thing. 3 years ago, I got a small issue with the design on the J.
What?
And actually, the public works in the town, we did a meeting, we worked shortly by accommodating all the conditions of the residents. What I try to say is, they've been doing a great job. Sometimes we disagree in conditions. We find our ways a common ground. And at this time, the project to move forward with all the satisfaction of the residents on that street. And I recommend any resident that they have the same kind of issues. Step forward, don't be afraid, just talk. And it's always a common ground. Sidewalks, positions, entries for the garages. The drainage is always a solution for everything. If it's not what you like, I'm sure that there is always a better solution, but they please both situations, the drainage and the residents. So I congratulate you.
Thank you. And thank you for that comment, because one of the reasons why we became a town is to have these type of conversations, right? I like the fact that we may disagree, but we'll listen. And the fact that you, one of 45,000 residents, have access to sit there with our public works director on site, like we do all the time, and discuss and look at design changes, and some of your neighbors as well, where I'm very proud of, it makes me proud of being your town manager, where I have my public works director, my code compliance director, my parks director knows everybody on first name basis. I want to make sure when somebody says, well, I can't get a hold of your public works director, I called the office. Yeah, he's probably in front of your house. You know, so I want to make sure that that's part of it.
To improve
Absolutely.
and E&M
Mhm.
and duty here.
Mhm.
You got
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. Perfect. And thank you. That's part of the process, right? Folks, there's a reason why for our success. A lot of it is boots on the ground, right? When we sit there and take for granted, and when I say there's a Project of the Year award, when we receive an award, it's all part of that give and take, right? So the fact that, for example, like Mr. Mello, you mentioned the J, where we had a meeting with the residents and we came to a common ground in terms of the sidewalks and what have you. We're going through that same process right now through the Saga Bay project that we're getting ready to do a public involvement meeting, right? And there's a lot of decisions that these folks have. I entrusted my public works director to do on the field. Go down the Frangio Road, some of BJ Duncan's neighbors, where we sat there and literally on the spot said, we're going to make this approach a little bit wider or move it a little bit because, man, I got to bring my boat in this angle. There's a lot of what we call field decisions that those folks are making. I entrusted them with that, and it's a collective response because not only Caribbean Boulevard, that's a county road. So when we make we have to do something with Caribbean Boulevard. Now, I think that section of Caribbean Boulevard is ours. Yes, I see that. Okay, thumbs up. Okay, got it. Got it. So for that Caribbean Boulevard section is ours. So that became even easier to make those quick decisions because that's one less layer of government that we had to prove. Unlike, say, Frangio Road, when we have to make the field decisions right there. So I get those comments and thank you for that. Listen, I get comments from folks emailing me that there's a wrong type of species of trees that are being planted. The fact that we have that level of scrutiny and the fact that we can respond, that's what I like about, that's what makes Cutler Bay Cutler Bay. But, thank you for those comments. Cool. Okay, got it. All right. All right, so let's talk about some of the exciting stuff that's happening, right? Upcoming developments. So, Southland Mall. Okay, there's Southland Mall. You've heard us say this over again. When it's all built out, it's going to be about a $1.5 billion impact. A number of jobs that they create. We're also working right there, that pedestrian bridge. Okay, there's going to be a pedestrian bridge on the south side of Applebee's. Again, thank you, Commissioner Cohen-Higgins, for securing $250,000 to procure a what's called a PD&E study, initial analysis of the bridge, the footbridge that's going to be over US 1. So that work is continuing now with the counties under plan review. Phase 1, we approved over 1,100 units. That's the actual renderings of the units. So the 1,100 units are going to be with a footprint where the old Sears was, as well as the old Kmart and Ross. Those two footprints there. In fact, when you go by there now, the Sears one is going to be more the first phase. You go there now, you kind of like peek through the fence or over the green fence, you'll see a lot of underground utility, right? That's going to be us pretty soon here in Legacy Park too. All the underground stuff that I don't see any activity. Well, it's not, you can't see through the fence. Okay, phase 1 also includes over 62,000 commercial square spaces as well, meaning that when these buildings are built, there's going to be some, the first floors are going to be a lot of retail there as well. And then the other phase is going to include a 150 key room hotel, as well as some rooftop bars, parking garages throughout the site. Again, if you'd like to see the plans, come by and visit our community development department. The plans are there. We could kind of walk you through the process. We're committed in terms of small town, where our planning and zoning director meets every 2 weeks with the ownership, with the architectural team from the mall. So that way, in case there's any issues there, we walk into the Flanagan's. Yep. Okay. So Flanagan's. These are the actual renderings. The council just approved the site plan. It went through a zoning workshop and it just went to the council last month. These are the actual renderings. The Flanagan's is going to be located just south of Jersey Mike, near the Baptist Health, not where the sunflower seeds you see, the sunflower trees. Okay. It's going to be within that footprint of the public shopping center. That's the other side view there. So right now we're expecting, according to the team, Jimmy Flanagan's team, groundbreaking fall of 26. Okay, folks, that's what, almost 6-7 months away, right? So we're working through right now in the permitting phase, walking them through the process right now for the permitting phase. Dragonfly Shops, okay, that's just the developer's name, right? People say, what's Dragonfly? What's the developer's name, right? It's on the intersection of 216 Old Cutler Road by our Lincoln City Park, right there, the intersection of 216 Old Cutler Road. There's the site, 216 Old Cutler. These are the actual renderings and site plan that was approved. This is the aerial look of it. That's Old Cutler Road that you see there. On the back side, you see Lincoln City Park. There's a closer view. As you can see, the stores and the restaurants will be right abutting Old Cutler Road. That's our plan, the way it rolls that right there, right up to, and then the parking will be on the backside. Here's just another rendering. So that one you'll see, wide sidewalks. You have that parapet there and a lot of open storefronts there that you see. And I think the important part here, I forgot to mention, also fall of 2026. Literally been on the phone with the developer there, so it's about right around the same time as well. Okay, crossings at Quail Roost. Give you a landmark. It's right behind the Shell station on US 1. It's a strip of property between the Shell station on the back side and the other side is rooms to go. Okay, the crossings at Quail Roost, it's going to be able to approve senior housing development. It's going to have over 93 residential units, and the first floor will have a retail commercial space in the first floor. There's it's kind of stretchy property there, and it's ideal because there's a bus rapid system right there. The BRT is right there, and I think it's going to be great. It's going to be for senior housing, 55 and over. These are the approved plans. The contemporary. Okay, the contemporary, the folks that live in Lakes by the Bay community, right? They deal with a couple of fences, right? They have the Blue Heron Park fence. We talked about that. And then another one is the 16-acre fence that you see right there on the lake. Okay, that property has arsenic as well. So that area there, you'll see we've been working with the developer to help the developer, incentivize the developer, and expedite the cleanup that we've been working with him. And you'll see a preview here for the town council, hopefully in the next 2 to 3 months, to designate that a brownfield in order for them to get a lot of tax credits to clean up the area there as well. So the contemporary, you'll see this is kind of like what it's going to be looking like. It's going to be intergenerational type of housing there. You're going to have senior housing and mixed use housing there as well. Again, these are the proposed plans that's going to be coming before the town council. And you'll see in the front there, fronting 216th Street, there's going to be retail. There's going to be some restaurants there. There's going to be a medical arts building there as well. And then the back side there, you'll see, the multi-story buildings there that's going to be kind of like, I call it intergenerational. There's going to be some senior dedicated and some other market rate houses there. Along the perimeter is about a 3.5 acre park that we have negotiated the use of that park for the residents, and the developer will maintain it and lock it up and secure it at night as well. So we'll have access to that. We've also negotiated the use of some of their common area community center space for a lot of our active adults activities. So stay tuned and you'll see some of these plans come before the council. Pinnacle at Southland Mall, just to give you a landmark, right behind Tire Kingdom. So once I tell people right behind Tire Kingdom, okay, I know where that's at. Across the street from the Social Security office. There's that intersection there, 211th Street. So there's the site. The council just approved this at I think it was the same council meeting as the Flanagan's. It's going to be 200 senior housing. 8-story, 2 buildings, 8 stories. And they're also going to add another 3,400 square feet of ground retail on the first floor. And again, a lot of it is going back to our charrette. It's in our Cutler Ridge charrette area, and it supports aging in place. So there's a lot of areas that we talked about there. And so it's not part of the mall development. It's a separate developer, but it'll be part of that big footprint there. This is what it's going to look like there. You'll see some on the side of the building. There's a lot of opportunity there for art in public places there. So we're going to make sure that we continue that same theme that we have on Town Hall, kind of like the environmental theme. I'm not looking for a race car. I'm not looking for a guitar. You know, I don't have a racetrack here. You know, I'm not Talladega. I don't have I'm not Nashville, right? So we wanted to look at some kind of environmental theme. The developer said absolutely he'll work with us and work through call for artists for that type of theme as well. And that's what it's going to look like there. And you see some of the architecture there, a lot of the opportunities down on the first floor there. That'll be the 211th Street and 112th, right behind Tire Kingdom. Any questions so far? I heard the bell.
Yes, we do have a few questions online.
All right.
Going back to Legacy Park and the new upcoming pool, a resident wants to know, will it cost to use the pool?
Will it cost to use the pool? We're going to have some town-sponsored programs, and we're going to try to keep it the way we've had it before in terms of some type of minimal fee, But I think if you ask me the question, is there going to be a fee for residents, a fee for people that live outside the town? It's going to be the same fee. Why? Because we're using federal money on that project there. So if you ask me the question differently, is there going to be a fee? Yes, very minimal. Will there be a fee for residents versus non-resident? It will be the same fee because we use federal money for that.
Okay, thank you. Another question says, did summer camps for the kids will be moved to the new community center or stay at Cutler Ridge Park?
Great question. And I know my parks folks are here, and Elizabeth runs a great program there. The summer camp and the after-school program will stay at Cutler Ridge Park. Folks, if you see what we do there, every weekend there's a waiting list that people rent our facility there. And it just puts so much strain on our staff there that, you know, you have a classroom and then you got to tear it down for somebody to do their 10-year-old kid's birthday party there. You know, so it's always complete chaos there. So what we're doing there is that the after-school program and the summer camps will be at Cutler Ridge Park. So that way now that is enclosed there. And then the other type of camps, like say the STEM camp and maybe some other active adult activity camps and what have you, because it gives us more opportunity, will be over there. But the staple, the home base will be after-school program at Cutler Ridge Park. Why? 90% of the kids that attend our after-school program, which are 75 kids, go and attend Cutler Ridge Elementary. So literally, they just get walked over and cross the fence. And then the camp for summer camp will be there for that camp. Now, there might be a swimming camp at our new facility, but again, that's different types of camps there. They'll be able to use our pool there, but I want to make sure that we dedicate it because that building, when you see it, it's secured. When you lock that building down, the breezeway has big gates and now it's enclosed. My biggest fear as your town manager is that we make sure we are taking responsibility for 75 little souls every night, every day, even in this summer camp here. So that is our big priority there. The safety is key for them.
And last question, the residents asking, why did Buffalo Wild Wings close in the mall?
I was waiting for that one. Okay, so the rest of the story. Okay, so immediately after, I'll tell you how quick we operate. One, we monitor social media. So I have my communication manager, hey, this is going on. Next person walks in my office is my co-compliance director, Santiago Gonzalez. Hey, here's what we got from the mall manager and Buffalo Wild Wings story. Then I get on the phone with the mall owner, find out the rest of the story, right? So the rest of the story, according to the mall folks, is that unfortunately, that Buffalo Wild Wings wasn't running up to their franchise standards. It was a business decision not to renew their lease. Other sides of the story said they increased it. Other sides they didn't renew it. I'm trying to get it from the horse. Okay. I could tell you that is a prime location, and I don't think it's going to be empty for a long time, knowing what I know. I mean, it's nearly 10,000 square feet, fronting US 1 with a great exposure and great parking with an existing grease trap, right? And that's another commercial there. We'll talk about later. And that is ready to move in, ready to move in there. So I don't see that being empty anytime soon. So sometimes good things happen when something like that fails.
No more questions.
Oh, come on.
We're getting a lot of hearts and thumbs up.
Oh,
So a lot of reactions.
5 fingers?
Yes.
5 fingers. I love 5 fingers. All right. Okay. Yeah, come on. Come on. Well, yeah, sure. I mean, how many more slides I got? Ready? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. I keep clicking. Huh? Okay, we'll go quickly then. We'll go quickly. Okay, hit me up there. Okay, so we have the what do we have? Oh, what happened to this one? Terra Group? Was that a little out of order? A little bit? Okay, all right, the Terra Group. So, and everybody remember where the COVID testing was, right behind the South Day Government Center? That little area there? Okay, so Terra Group is a developer that's going to be building over 300 workforce housing on county property, okay? That we've had public involvement meetings with them here. And the good news for us is that there's going to be about a 3.2 acre park that's going to be available for all the residents of Cutler Bay, right? And there, one of our key items there is also going to be a dog park. Okay, that's going to be there. It's going to be owned by the Terra Group, maintained by the Terra Group, but it could also be used by all of our town residents there. In fact, here's some of the renderings of what it's going to look like. There's going to be a community center as well that we're going to be able to use as well for a lot of our active adult programs that we have. Some of the renderings of some of the equipment that's going to be there. And here's what actual renderings that they have. And what I like about it is going to be a nice little wide walkway connecting that park all the way to the Dennis Moss Center as well. A lot of lit area, a nice art in public places, outdoor workout equipment, just open space there. Yes, besides the building on the background there. But I mean, to us, we want to make sure that they were able to put a lot of the different amenities that we want to make sure that a lot of our residents have been, talking about for several years. South Day Library, as you know, right now it's closed. It's going through a major renovation. One of the interesting parts of that project is they're going to have a catio, which is going to be a lounge where folks can adopt cats. There's going to be a room there, and you're going to see some renderings here pretty soon. And again, right now it's currently under construction. So that is our library, because I know when we were going through the design phase of Town Hall, a lot of conversation was, why don't we put a library? I'm like, why? There's a regional one right here. So we want to make sure that we want to promote that as well, because that is a regional library that the county's spending several $1 million there doing renovation. This is the actual renderings of what it's going to look like. So if you remember going there years ago, this is what it's going to look like. See, second floor. A lot of the different renderings for the second floor. Yep. Where's my kitty cats? There we go. And there's the catio room, the catio lounge. So the purpose of this is all these cats will be up for adoption. So as you go into the library, you could, possibly adopt a cat there as well. So it's an interesting concept. We loved it. I mean, I think it's great. I know, no ideas, right? Yeah. I'm a cat person, sorry. So any questions from the library in terms of, or other development? No? How many more chapters do we have? Because I want to make sure I don't miss some of the questions that. Okay, I'm going to breeze through them. Okay, upcoming events, guys. Some of the things we're doing here, you'll see there on May 13th, we're hosting here in this very same room, Fat, Oil, and Grease, FOG. One of the reasons why we want to draw attention to that is, remember we just talked about Buffalo Wild Wings, and we talked about some of the other restaurants that we're trying to recruit, Flanagan's, right? We understand that residents want more and more restaurants. So one of the things that we did, coordinating with in the umbrella of a small business month, which May is Small Business Month, is coordinated with our friends from Miami-Dade County Durham and Miami-Dade County Building Department. In fact, we just, Councilmember Duncan and I, the mayor, ran into the Durham director a couple of hours ago, right? And they're excited. Yeah, a couple of hours ago. And they're excited about coming down because this is a time that you're going to have all that leadership here in Cutler Bay. And our job is to fill up the room to have people ask questions about why does it take so many months and years to have a grease trap? You know, how easy is it to get a permit for a grease trap? We want all those questions. We brought that team here. That's something that the mayor brought up at the Biscayne Bay subcommittee, and the county responded. In fact, we also are going to have my good friend of mine, Ed Rojas, the building official for the entire Miami-Dade County, also here as well. So folks, let your friends know, fill up the room, and let's give them some nice, you know, open mic stuff here, you know. So we get those folks there. Also, in conjunction with following up on May 18th. On May 18th, we're going to have our police department, sheriff's department. I got to get used to saying sheriff's department, our police department, neighborhood resource unit, and also the real-time crime center. The folks that are watching us, you know, where's the cameras, right? Somewhere, right? That we're offering as part of the sheriff's department, where literally I took a visit myself with Major Rosselli and our planning zoning director to the real-time crime center in Doral, undisclosed location. But they could tap into different cameras throughout different malls if they give them access, or different business communities. So that way, God forbid, there's some kind of active shooter or what have you, they can literally live stream what's going on and tell the officer who's responding what's going on. Hey, they're around this corner, that corner, this door, what have you. So I think it's very important for business community to understand that service is there. So we want to bring them here for that. And then also part of that conversation, we're going to have our NRU officers that are certified in teaching folks how to secure their businesses and what have you here. And then part two of that is going to be the banking side, right? We're going to have TD Bank come in and talk about how to provide small business growth loans and what have you. So I think it's a combo there that we're going to do, and as part of May, besides having some other items that Rod's going to push out through social media in collaboration with the South Dade Chamber, as well as the community newspaper, as part of a lot of celebrations of the Small Business Month, May Small Business Month. And then obviously we have our Caribbean Night, June 12th, Cutler Ridge Park food truck event is very popular as well. I heard a ding, so is there a question?
Yes, we have a resident asking, will the library be open for August voting?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Not looking at the construction schedule, no, but I know that the folks that will be in that area there will probably get notices, you know. I know that was their goal, but just looking at how far they're along, maybe not. But again, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and that's great. That means they're ahead of schedule.
That's all.
Okay, all right. Questions? Here we go. Come on up. Told you I was gonna be quick.
Easy task to do, complicated task. I want to make public that in many situations, because I'm posting and I have comments in public, supporting the town, sometimes criticizing some movements, but it's all to build a good concept and good evolution and a better way to see the town. I get problems like people criticizing situation about my projects. I want to say public and the front of the town manager because he's witness. My project is moving forward with everything approved and correct. And I think I can hear from him that the project is a good add to my community, especially in my area. So I'm building a home that will promote the area and promote the town regards how we can bring more investment to that area. Saying that, now I'm coming here to a tough subject.
So the first part wasn't a question, but just a statement. Okay, got it.
If technology, if you want to comment about my project, you are very, very well that it was.
No, I mean,
problems.
okay, but it's a comment. It's not really a question for me. So you have a project under construction. Great. Love it.
Perfect.
Perfect. Love it. Okay, got it.
Just flowing like. Okay, today I want to be here knowledge and thank you, the town manager, to the work being done over the years to this community. while may not always agreed, I recognize that decisions can be made with intentions of serving the best interest of the residents. Thank you. I'm here today to speak about a very difficult subject. This is open mic, right? So, after all.
Well, in terms of forming the question, all right? Because I mean, I'm sure if I told anybody come up to the mic and give me statements, give it to me in a form of a question. Got it. Got it. Got it.
I would like to raise a serious concerns regarding professional conduct without town leadership and employees. There have been multiple reports and public observations of members of the town leadership employees appearing to be influenced of alcohol in public spaces, including areas just Black Point Marine restaurant. Their situations raise legitimacy concerns about judgment, professionalism, and the standards expected for the interest of the service of this community. In addition, there have been concerns and allegations regarding inappropriate comments and behaviors that may raise the level of harassment. These are not issues that should be ignored or dismissed. They go direct to the integrity of our local government. I want to be clear. This isn't about the personal attacks. This is not about elections. This is about accountability, transparency, and maintain the standards of the residents deserve. At this time, also, I want to mention something equally important. Many residents feel uncomfortable to speak up. They are in broad concern about backlashing, intimidation, or indeed target of raising valid issues. That should never be the case in our community. No resident should be afraid to speak, ask questions, or raise concerns because of bullying or harassment. A healthy community depends on open dialogue, not fear of silence. The questions is coming forward. What independent and internal process are in place to review complaints involving elected officials and town employees? The second question is, how is accountability ensure that concerns are raised by the residents? And the last, and what protection exists to ensure the residents they can speak freely without fear of retribution? Our community deserves leadership, and they have by our town managers. Thank you.
Okay.
This is not only effective, but also accountable, respectful, and held on high ethical standards. And thank you to all.
Okay. Thank you. So I'll try to attack. Let's talk about a couple. So let's talk about professional conduct. Okay, professional conduct. We have professional conduct standards for town employees. I'll say it again, for town employees. Okay. As much as I would love the town council to report to me, they don't report to me. Okay. So town employees, we have professional conduct that we have for that. We have open communications lines if folks want to call us regarding any type of ethical standards or professional conduct that they want to report on employees. Certainly could contact us. There's a procedure for that. In fact, Vivian Manach, my administrative services director there, she's handled these types of investigations in her previous career in other locations and here as well. So we take those all very, very seriously. Okay, there's no like, I don't know, show it under the rug or what have you it is, right? So to me is that I deal in facts, not he said, she said, he said. If there's a legitimate complaint, she's right there. Raise your hand, Vivian. There she is right there. Vivian Manach, there she is. She sits, her office is 6 feet from my office. So if there's anybody that has those type of complaints, tell her that's what she does in terms of that. In terms of elected officials, Again, I said that tongue in cheek. I wish they work for me. They don't, right? They're town elected officials. They work for the community. All 45,000 residents, 26,000 registered voters. Okay, so if the council, anytime, want to set a policy that it's forced by them for them, they do that. Okay, I don't enforce any type of policies towards the council. They're not my employees. In terms of employees, we do have a strict rule for that. You had your time. Let me get there. Let me get there. Okay, so we have that. So it's not ignored. It's accountability. I'm here. You're seeing me, town manager, 19 years. It's never been an issue for us here. 19 years here. 19 years. Okay. In terms of scared to speak up, you're a perfect example. We're here. We don't bite. I'm here. We're here to answer the tough questions, right? Live, here it is, unfiltered. This is what we do. You can meet us at different special events. We have it here. You can sit there, call us. You can sit there and have us come to your living room and talk to you. We deal with that. But when it comes to somebody's livelihood, we deal in facts. We take all those matters seriously. We investigate, and if we need to bring outside counsel, outside investigators, we investigate that. We take all those matters seriously. In terms of, let me see here, you had any concerns raised? I was trying to write here as fast because you had me three questions. Give me 3 questions. Oh, give me, yeah, there you go. It's even better. See, look at this. He's actually giving his questions, see? Full transparency. All right, thank you. So I'll go point by point, and thank you for this because I had to write there fast and I can't even read my own writing. What independent internal processes are in place to review complaints involving elected official town employees? I think we just talked about. In terms of town employees, we take that very seriously. Employees work directly for me. We have a process. It's in our personnel manual. We have a code of conduct there. We do that, and if it warrants it, disciplinary action up to termination. Up to termination. I want to make sure, okay? Town elected officials, they set their own policies. They set their own policies. That's your first question. Second one, how is accountability ensured when concerns are raised by residents? We take every matter seriously. If there's in terms of, how is accountability? I would need to have an example, right? You mentioned something about Black Point or what have you, right? Look, if somebody sees all my department heads, all employees understand that they're on the clock 24/7. Okay, we have a professional conduct ethics that we have, and then it'll get investigated by our administrative services director. Let me see, and let me get my glasses on here for that next one. What protections exist to ensure residents can speak freely without fear of retaliation? Folks, I'm reading your questions. How much more freely you want me to do? That's how much freely we have. So you have, I know.
I think you misunderstood. I'm not referring absolutely. What's your percent to you? It's nothing about.
Okay, come up to it. Come up to it. All right, we'll talk.
None of my comments here, I was referring to you personally.
Oh, no. I don't take it personally.
No. For your actions, professionals. I've been, like I said from the beginning, I thank you for your service. And for the process that you ran my case in the past, I thank you also. We always found a common ground. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I see but firsthand. The community talks behind doors. Because they are afraid of retaliations.
Okay.
And that's why I'm speaking today about this.
Got it. So I got it.
I was a volunteer in my service to Cutler Park, soccer, for many years. I was coaching college, and all my spare time, I was here, giving my free time to the kids of Cutler. I saw many things happen in that period of time, from 2012 to 2016. Things between lifeguards, situations, employees, I never spoke nothing about.
Okay.
Let it go. I don't understand what's going.
Okay.
Today's day is different, is a different level. It's too many persons in the community talking about this type of behaviors in bars and from some employees of this town. And because they don't speak, I speak for them. I have no fear, and they're never gonna let me be bullied, ever. As you know, my attitude of person, I'm a very good person on that level. So this is what I bring to attention.
Mhm.
He's not criticizing,
Mm.
absolutely
Mhm.
not.
Mhm.
Is one way for us to find a better way to live in this town.
Okay.
Because I know that we live under Miami-Dade Code of Ethics and the Florida state. If it exists a code of conduct, I'm not aware of that. Thank you for informing.
Mhm.
But I know the ethics and standards is Miami-Dade County. Miami-Dade County is very clear, no alcohol on job. And like you referred, any employee of this town is to 24-hour service, especially if you're using the shirt of the town. This is a concern that I have and a lot of community members of this town. And I'm not saying go and punish whatever he's doing. He's bringing awareness to the employees and have them change the behavior.
Got it. Okay.
That's what we're looking for.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you. And I think you mentioned a couple key words, right? Now, I'm going to mention something that I've been your town manager since 2012, June 2012. Okay. Call us. Number one. Number two, leadership, accountability, transparency. Those are nice buzzwords. We live it. All those are buzzwords. You mentioned you saw some things from 2012 to 16. Well, you know what? Shame on you for not telling me. Number one, don't tell me 10 years later. When you deal with somebody's livelihood, if we have to do an investigation, I'll be the first one. If somebody violated that, you're gone. You're not part of our team. There's a reason why when you see Mayor Mirabal talk about, and you see us getting recognized in different organizations, when I say Mayor Mirabal talk about where we were recognized as one of the top efficient municipalities by the state legislator, that doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight that we have different awards for earned town employees or different awards for projects. If the community was that much at arms, this room every third Friday would be full. Number one, I deal in facts. Number two, it's a lot easier for folks to decide to say, I saw this, but I'm scared to speak up. Why? Why? We don't bite here. We have all the comments there. You could come to see the council members there. Listen, folks, everybody has an iPhone. Or Samsung, right? I mean, any type of phone. So we know that we're under that type of public scrutiny. So I think the biggest thing for us is that if you see it, just let us know and we'll investigate it. I mean, I know that's usually, it's a tough comment to say, but again, I'm your town manager, accountability, transparency, ethics, that's what we stand for here. So if you see that kind of stuff, absolutely. I can tell you that comment you just made, I've been here 19 years, first time I hear that comment, 45,000 residents. So maybe next time I wear white instead of black, maybe I don't know if intimidated. We don't bite. None of our council members bite. We're all here. So and then whatever the type of transparency it is, and there might be times where we may disagree on a sidewalk. That's easy. But man, I take it seriously if somebody says that my employee is doing X, Y, Z. Remember that flow chart? Council reports 45,000. Town employees report to me. Town clerk reports directly to the mayor and town council, as well as the town attorney. We take that very seriously there. We take every matter seriously, regardless. And some of it might be that after the investigation, there's nothing there, but we investigated it. So we take it very, very seriously. So, but thank you for the comments. I mean, you can see the transparency. I literally grabbed your questions and asked,
Oh, that period of time.
Yeah.
I think I used the word, I didn't understand what's going on.
Okay.
I use that word. So I will never want to accuse nobody.
I got it.
What was common.
Yeah.
If you really, I don't know what's going on.
Got it. So if you want to know what's, if you want to know what's going on, just let us know. I mean, look, there's no magic. Somebody sees an employee sleeping in a truck, tell me. There's been employees who've been fired for that. right? I mean, there's been employees fired for that. So let us know, so if you see something, let us know and we'll be more than happy to handle it. But that's how you start squashing some of the things. Because if not, oh, I see this, you know what? Let us know, we're here.
Your lawsuit or.
There's no,
So this is a
Listen.
plan. I'm
Okay.
never gonna
Okay.
cross.
Okay.
Awareness.
got it. Got it. Okay, I know that so you're not picking up the mic. You're saying there's a line that you don't want to cross. Listen, I want you started your statement first, and again, I'll wrap it up because it's not just about me and you here, right? It's about the rest of the folks that are here. Is that if it's something that made you come up and write those questions up and come out of your day to talk about this at an open mic night, you know how to get a hold of me. I'm here from 7:30 to 5:30, right? But we'll use this platform. I agree. Let's use that platform. But again, let us know some facts because those folks have rights and there's investigations. So I'm not going to sit there and say, well, Bobby is fired because Bob said through the internet, through this guy, that guy saw him, that doesn't work that way. So we understand that and I respect that. And again, I want to make sure I come across that we are open for these type of comments. I want to be the folks here, third Wednesday of the month, I sit right there. My boss will sit right here. The evaluation process, guys, it's every month, every day, every week, right? So we are creating, and I know you said it wasn't against me. It's not against me. It's about that brand. What's that brand? That logo. So when we do put out an ad for an employees, right, for one position, I get 80 applications. When I go to a conference or we get named Public Works Director of the Year or different items that we receive, right? We want to make sure that we're creating that brand. Why? Part of that brand is recruiting qualified folks, right? When you see the folks and my department heads, you see the qualifications that they have is required. So that way, when succession plan comes in, you have somebody who will step in and continue that. So the level that we're creating there, the level of transparency, nice buzzwords, accountability, nice buzzwords, right? Open speech, free speech. Those are the kind of things that we're setting that level. In fact, to the point that if you followed us in the charter committee even said even more transparency, even more involvement and public engagement from the town manager's office, right? I'm not going to be here 50 years from now. It's the level that we're creating, the standard we're creating right now. This right now, open mic night, right? Free-flowing conversation with your town manager and the council in the audience and online, not saying a word. That is engagement. That is engagement. So fun fact, and maybe a good homework assignment, find out how many other cities do this, right? Because you have to have that accountability, transparency. I'm going to use one more word, courage to do what I'm doing today. That's what it is all about. The rest to me is all chatter. That's like me saying, you know what? Hey, somebody told me you won the lotto. Go cash the lotto check. What's that mean? We deal in facts. So again, that's what I do as your town manager, and we take those matters very seriously. So I know it's a long statement. Thank you. I know me and you had several conversations. Thank you for what you do for the community, and so we do all that stuff. I know. I got you.
I think
It's good, transparent conversation. I love it.
Very clean
Mhm.
for the community itself to listen,
That's right.
feel comfortable to step.
I want anyone here to feel comfortable. Listen, they could come to the front desk, talk to Maria and Deborah. Is Ralph here? 3 words. Is Ralph here? That's it. And if I'm available, I'll come talk to them. No, I'm never, and I take it personal. I take it for the brand. The office of town manager. How about that? Is it better? It's a town manager here. So it's the office of town manager. That's what we do. We try to be accountable, as I mentioned, and I think it's important. I don't, Ms. DeBello, I don't take it personal. I know it's not about Ralph. I'm defending the chair. The chair is the town manager, the town manager's chair. Again, I won't be here 50 years from now, but it's the chair, the level of service, the level that we're creating for the level of service that we're creating for the residents of the town of Cutler Bay versus other municipalities. So, but thank you for that. Again, I want to show that is an example that if you were hesitant thinking these were tough questions, they weren't tough questions. They're good questions. They're enough questions that gave you the point to write them down. I grabbed it. I read them exactly point to point. I tried doing my best answering it without, like I said, having different facts or what have you, but Again, we will investigate all those matters. And again, it's the chair. I don't take it personal. Believe me, I don't take it personal. I can't take those things personal as town manager. I want to make sure if the answer is no, I'll provide the reason why it's no. If the answer is yes, yes. And if we're wrong, you're dang right we're wrong. We're wrong. So that's the type of attitude that I would have as your town manager. That's the type of leadership that I have for my department heads.
I have to get companies work on me. Better work on ethics.
Mhm.
So they are start work this
Great.
couple of months.
Perfect. Perfect. I know the county's working on. Okay.
By also.
Okay.
Here.
Yeah.
Susie and
Right.
Duncan.
Right.
To step forward,
Okay.
just try to create.
Okay. But again, that now.
They can bring to the council
Perfect.
new ideas of
There you go.
ethics for us everybody to be.
See, now,
Follow.
perfect. And then what you said, so the folks at home that didn't hear, is to have the council maybe bring up some policy that they could bring up. You know what? Was that hard to say? Did anybody get hurt when you said that? We're here. What's the next question? You see? So I'm saying it didn't hurt, did it? Right? So we're here for that. And that's what the council is. And again, you don't have to wait for this type of forum. Third Wednesday of every month. In fact, we're one of the few cities that have 2 public comments on our council. If you miss it, stuck in traffic, then we have the second public involvement. No, you're good. You're good. But I mean, I think it's a healthy conversation that I want to, because I could have shut you off 3 minutes ago. You know that, right? I didn't. I want that conversation, because not only for the folks in this room, the folks that are listening, so that people that understand and may not see me every day or events, we're very amenable, we're very accessible. This council at any given time could provide, talk amongst themselves and set policies for themselves, for the town as well. And we recommend, and they may not go with a recommendation as well. So that is part of the transparency that we have here, accountability as well. But thank you for that. Again, I wanted to show that exchange, because we want to make sure that you don't have to come to this forum to do that. You could actually call us, or third Wednesday of the month. I tell third Wednesday of the month, 6 p.m. twice in that agenda. You can come talk. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your involvement. Again, believe me, from the heart, I don't take it personal. Okay? Do we have a question?
No more questions.
Oh, no? Any
No.
questions? All right. Any more questions from the, yes, sir. Come on up. Come on up. Come on up.
This is more of a comment than a question, but I just, in light of the fact it's, the ending, I'd like to thank the town of Cutler Bay, its town council, and its town staff for facilitating this open mic meeting and for continuing to uphold sustained excellence and transparency, accessibility, and openness to its residents.
Thank you. Thank you for those comments. So again, that's what we want to try to create, again, in Cutler Bay. So thank you for attending. One more call online. Anything?
The last comment we got, it's literally I heart Cutler Bay. So
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Well, once again, thank you on behalf of the mayor and town council. Thank you for attending tonight's meeting. We'll have another one scheduled in August. But again, don't have to wait till August. Don't have to wait till the next council meeting. Feel free to give me a call. In fact, write this down: 786-573-5518. 786-573-5518. The person answering their phone is going to be Romy or Julia, and they'll transfer the call to me. So once again, thank you. Have a great night.